Hi there and welcome to Bustthenet. Yes, I want to thank One Football App for sponsoring this month's show on the channel, and I want to share with you what we're going to be doing on the channel. We have three playthroughs: Columbus Crew, Kingstonian, and Ajax, all with different focuses. With the Kingstonian save, I'm a no house walk the dog badgeless person that's hoping to do something great with the club. With Ajax, we are going to focus more on training. We're going to see how we develop our players, the challenges, and how I set the club up to do something like that. And with the Columbus Crew, is just old-fashioned fun. Let's find out more about the MLS, because I'm really stumbling my way through that. I don't even, sometimes I don't even know whether I won a competition or not. So that's how lost I am in the MLS. Okay, so meanwhile, back here with Ajax, if you followed the Getting Started with series with Ajax, you noticed that we had a certain problem with Ajax. Coming into the club, we have no staff. So we've gone out there and we have done the job, and we have hired ourselves a whole bunch of staff. So we populated our first team with staff. We're doing okay, which got chief scouts, who came back with reports on 2 or 3 defensive midfielders. So we've added Simeone Pasa and Lorenzo Christique to the defensive midfielders group of players, and we're also continuing. We still haven't finished scouting yet. We want to see if we can add a few more players. In the B team, the staff, I'm also hiring more staff. I've got 2 more slots to fill before I close the chapter on the coaching staff for the B team. So I continue to place ads here looking for a B team coach. And then when I'm looking at the under-19s as well, the coaching team, we want to develop the coaching team here. As you can see, we got more slots to fill, and I'm placing an ad here for another under-19s coach. And we shall continue to do that. Let's take a look at our squad. Now, when I focus on training, I'm looking at how my players can fit into my overall style of play. So certain players are going to be given a lot of it has got to do with the kind of tactic they're using, right? So we're using a 4-3-3. I think you call this a 4-3, a 4-3-1-2, a 4-3-3, and a 4-1-3-2. So based on those tactics, I need to have defensive midfielders who are basically all action players. So when I'm looking at my players as well, like Vaclav Černý, right? He is an attacking midfielder. If I don't do something with him, I'm gonna have an issue. So at the moment, I'm looking at him more like a winger, but his crossing is 8. His dribbling is not that bad. Finishing is okay, so he can cut inside the box, runs with ball through the center, cuts inside from both wings. So when I'm looking at this player, my immediate reaction is, okay, fine. He's going to end up becoming an inside forward. So he is playing off the left or the right flank. So this is really important because I need to see what his favorite foot is. So we go into this, we look at his attributes or his information. Somewhere here is going to tell me what his foot is. Left. Okay, so left, I'm going to ask him to become an inside forward on the right flank. So when it comes to training, we do a position role training on the right flank. He becomes an inside forward. So this is how I do things. And then when we look at his other training things, I'm taking the long route so that you can see what I'm doing here. Intensity level is average. We're going to turn it to heavy. We're going to give him an additional focus as well, but I'm going to look at his situation. His agility, his balance, not very good. So he's okay, but he's not gonna be able to wiggle his way through play. So definitely gonna work on his balance. All right, this is a big weakness for him, so we need his balance to improve, and we're focused on that. What about his player traits? He's already got quite a few player traits. I'm not going to mess with player traits until I see my tactic play out, and I do this with all my players. No, Nick Vajiva, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's 11. His acceleration is 11. He plays pretty well as a defender and a fullback, and when it comes to his training, we're just going to focus, keep it very simple for him and just tell him to be a fullback. And then we go to his once again, it's good to look at his attributes. Now if we're looking at his attributes here, what is the biggest weakness that he has? He has 2 weaknesses. One is he's not very fast off the mark. His positioning may be good. His passing, his decision making, the general ability for him to get up and become an attacking cog in the wheel isn't there. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to focus his training while he's a fullback. Okay, we could ask him to be a wing back as well. I'm going to ask him to work on his passing. Where is his passing? Okay, there we go. So we go through with every single player, and the goal here is for me to start identifying players who I want to, I want to focus on them. Like I got 17-year-olds, and all these players are going to be targets for me. So I will go through their training, and I'll be focusing very specifically on these players because these players have a big future in the club. Matthias De Ligt is going to be a central defender, and I want him to play a lot of games. He's only 17 years old. And if we look at his player traits, he has got no player traits. Now, my style of football is to get them to bring the ball out of defense. So we go to technique, and I want him to look to bring the ball out of defense. I still prefer it if he does it. So while they work on that, I can see that maybe his first touch, maybe his dribbling isn't very good. His decisions are a bit weak. So we're gonna work on other things like passing here. No, rather his dribbling. I'm gonna get him to work on his dribbling so that he can actually work with the ball as he brings it up. So we're going to ask him to work on those attributes. Why dribbling? Because, you're going to have to bring the ball out of defense. It requires you to dribble with the ball, right? We're not asking him to become the world's greatest dribbler, but as you can tell, there's nothing else here. I mean, you could get him to work on his technique. His technique is 13 already, so it's pretty okay. It's going to develop over time. And then you've got other attributes here, but really the only one that I would work on is dribbling or first touch. His first touch is already 13, so we're working on dribbling. Hopefully it helps him out. Then I go through the rest of the players. I focus on the same things. Like here, Kasper Dolberg. In my system, I want him to be a striker, but I also want him to be an inside forward. I want him to be an all-action figure. So over time, he's going to have to... here, the best thing I can train him in... the problem here when it comes to training players like Kasper Dolberg, where you really... he's got so much potential ability, you might get lost in the mix. You'd be thinking, I want him to be the greatest complete forward of all time. But then you go to complete forward and you look at this and you go, yeah, why not? He's got everything. No, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I focus on something first. Focus basically on the way you want to play first. And then those attributes are the ones that you're going to be working on. So here, he's got decent off the ball. His passing is 12. His decisions are 13. So when I'm looking at his attributes here, I'm looking, okay, maybe what I can get him to be is actually false 9. Now, few attributes. Agility will be worked on, balance will be worked on, passing, decisions off the ball, critical areas of the game, not that bad. This is it's a pretty solid set of attributes that he's going to be working on. Again, and this intensity will be very high. He's got no player traits. Not a problem for me, but I just want my central defenders to be working on bring the ball out of defense. So this is how I go into my, when I go to training. We want them to have, we want their workload. You see now, by giving Maximilian Wober the extra work to do, his workload has now gone to heavy and heavy. This is perfect for us because we don't need our players here to go overboard in terms of training. So once again, Dennis Johnson, we do the same thing. Training, how does he fit into my system? I am playing a 4-1-2-3. I'm playing a 4. If he doesn't end up being a half decent winger or an inside forward, he's probably never ever going to get a chance to play for us. So here in this particular case for him, he's playing, he can play on the right or left. So once again, you check his foot. His foot is right. So here I could get him to train and start working, because his attributes suggest that he might actually end up being a half decent winger. So we're going to work on him as a winger, because he's got a crossing and dribbling. There's something else that you can do. With some of these players, you can actually tell them to become fullbacks if you wanted to, but I only reserve that for guys who have very high acceleration. So here, what else can we work on? Now here, his composure is only 11. His off the ball is only 10. So the priority has to be off the ball, because we want him to be working with the rest of the team, looking for opportunities. Another thing you want to do, tutoring. Now, you're going to have to work on player personalities as well. You want to remove as many of these light-hearted and balanced as possible as quickly as you can by getting them tutored by better personalities. There are two ways you tutor a player. Like here, if you go to Justin Kluivert and then tutoring, I can get Ziyech to tutor him. I mean, I'm just going to give you an example. If I go to Ziyech, ask him to tutor him. If you choose the second option, then you're working on his personality. You choose the first option, then you're looking at adding his player traits as well. So you want to be very careful about which one you choose. I sometimes just want personality instead of player traits. So these are things that you're going to be doing, and these are things that I'm planning to do very quickly before the season kicks off. And there'll be certain things I do with my B squad. I will make sure that players who are 18 and above, like, or maybe 19 and above, all of them are going to be available for loan, because if they can't get a chance to play, because this is going to be a very important time for their development. If they need first team matches, the moment they hit 18, they need first team matches. I'm going to keep some around. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to give them a chance to play in my first team, like players like Shane Nunnally. They're probably going to get a chance. I'm going to give them some matches, but there may not be a lot of games for them. And then for the under 19s as well, I move some of the under 19s into the B squad, and the plan is to get them loaned out and to further their development. Now, one of the things I do in preseason is I like to see how my players do with the tactics, and none of these players have any PIs. So I usually will start applying PIs once I start noticing how they perform with the tactic. If they dribble too much and they lose the ball, then I tell them to dribble less, or I find a role that suits them a bit more. And I don't use any TIs. TIs I apply. I want to see how they play without TIs before I start applying TIs. There are some TIs that I can probably put in place. Like, for example, if we're playing with a DM, so it makes sense that I may want to push up the defensive line and compress space. But I'll do none of these at the moment. I just want to see how they perform without TIs. So we set the team up and we're off. And we are playing against young boys. This should be an interesting match, and I think I've been on extended highlights playing it really fast. 2D Classic will be fine. Everything is fine. We'll talk to the team. Assertive. Yes. They're stressed. Same old thing. Nothing has changed, and we're off. So all I do now is I look at transitions. I look at transitions to see whether or not there are things that we can do. Like right now, I just saw Aiting do something. He's a ball-winning midfielder, so he went pretty high up the pitch. We've got a wing back they want to use over here, so I need to see that he gets further up the pitch when we get the opportunity. Now, in case people are wondering how I managed to get my panels to show up like that, I'm using Michael Murray's in between match highlights mods, and you can download this from the SI skinning hideout. So far it looks like it's 10 minutes. We're not doing very much. I'm looking at the game thinking to myself, okay, fine, action zones show that young boys have most of the action, right? They're generally controlling most of the ball in their half. So what you're going to do is very quickly I'm going to make some changes. First, I'm going to push up. So when I push up my defensive line and play with an offside trap, I'm going to compress the space that they have available. Then I'm going to prevent the short goalkeeper distribution. And I think we'll go fluid as well. It's a bit of a risk, but I want to see how my boys do. I'm pretty confident. We are nursing a 1-goal lead that we got away from home. So I'm pretty okay with this at the moment. So far, no PIs, no TIs. I'm looking at pass percentages. Wow, Ajax at 32%. This is unheard of. I mean, I never expected it to be this low. Possession numbers have jumped up to 38%. Okay, that's not too bad. Therefore, Connor Sulaimani is snuffed out by our players. Okay, so what can I do to improve this? Alright, we can actually start playing slightly differently. Oh, I've noticed that they have gone with two attacking wingbacks. Look at that. They've got wingbacks on support. This is a rather aggressive setup that they have. I don't even know what's going on. Dolberg is injured. I hate this new thing that they've done. Oh man, Dolberg is out. That's bad news for us. Alright, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do something different now. We're gonna play out the defense, work ball into box. We're gonna still play balance and add a few more TIs, and we're gonna now try and push. We're not gonna try and control a bit more possession and try and play further up the pitch. David Neres hits it down for Huntela. Huntela out wide for David Neres. He tries to lay it up for Oruela. Gets it to the light. The light now to Wenderbeek. Wenderbeek's inside the box. And Wober now to Vajiva, to Delight. Delight by to Aiting, to David Neres. Takes a shot. It's just not going to threaten the keeper. Alright, we can now take him and turn him into a wingback on support. So we get a bit more support going on this side of the flank. The boys are bombing forward. Ziyech to Van der Beek. Van der Beek was try to slide this. He can't. Alright, we got 34 minutes left. I'm going to remove certain shouts, play our defense. We are now going to try and play it on structured. Overload slightly deeper. Well, halftime has come. We're playing okay. I mean, we're not really creating. I'm just experimenting with... I'm treating this like a preseason friendly. Just experimenting with different mentalities. See how my players can do with this. Orijuela crosses it. They try to clear the ball. Delight comes up, picks up the pieces. Hakim Ziyech looks at Hontala. Hontala hits it down. And again, it tests the woodwork, but he's offside. Orijuela with the throw. Plays it to Delight. Delight finds Van der Beek. Van der Beek looks on Neres. David Neres can't. Well, he tried to. He's no Casper Dolberg. But he tries to clear the ball. Orijuela hits it down for Delight to Van der Beek. Van der Beek looks for options. Aiting will go to the flanks. No, it is laid up for Huntala. But he can't put the ball into the back of the net. Vajiva with the throw to Delight. Delight finds Huntala. What can he do? He launches one for Neres. The boys pick the pieces up. And they switch play to the other flank. That's brilliant play. Orijuela crosses it first time. It comes down. Delight. Out wide, he goes to Orijuela. He will cross this. He does brilliantly. He gets to Karel Aiting. One more time for the cross. And the cross doesn't find anybody. Lotomba now comes away with the ball. Looks for options. Finds Giorgetti. Sanogo. Sanogo to Suleimani. Under some pressure. The boys clear that. And again, they look for another counter. David Neres to Huntala. Huntala shoots. It's well wide. Huntala is coming, whatever his name is, I think it's Huntala anyway. So, gonna swap, bring on a youngster, see how they do. Fast nut. Weltman looks for Cherney. Cherney now holds the ball up, tries to play it back to someone. Orijuela, Weltman. Weltman plays it back to Werber. Werber out to Orijuela. Now to Skone, slides it for Neres. Cherney looks for an option, but he delivers the cross. Nobody's inside the box. We have a throw. That's a lot of shots we've had on target. Freuler to Suleimani. Back to Freuler. Looks for options. Fastnut to Frisknut. Fastnut and Frisknut. Welcome to Delight. To Van der Beek. Back to Skone. Looks for options. Can't find them. Wober. Delight. Skone now. What a pass from Skone. The Neres. And yes, David Neres scores. The boys have opened accounts. That was good football actually. We are playing in overload as well. We're looking for fast transitions. We don't really care about anything else. I just want to see how the boys do it on overload. I suspect we can play on overload. I'm beginning to see some potential in the boys. They're looking okay. I mean, against teams like Manchester United, we probably can't play like this. We'll probably have to be a bit more... we might have to do a lot better with keeping the ball. So it means that there will be some PIs that are needed if I want to create a kind of possession style 4-1-3-2. But in terms of it being able to launch quick counters, definitely this tactic can do it. David Neres makes it another goal. It's a brilliant counter attack. Very fast down the throat. And it's the second goal from Ajax. Look at this. They were attacking and we just launched our counter attack. Weltman to Cherney. Cherney looks up, sees Neres, plants a perfect pass for him. He gets in, makes it 2. Not too bad. We started out with 33% possession. I went overload and we got 49% possession. Skone clear headed. Delight. We haven't really gone and tweaked our corner routine, set piece routines yet. I just want to see how we do in open play. And then I will load up my set pieces once the season starts. Well, Casper Dolberg is injured for a few weeks, so we'll have to do without him for a while. But this is the key thing about preseason. In preseason, I will choose a tactic that I think my team can play with, and I'm not going to apply any PIs. I just want to see how they play without it. Then I'll go into preseason and see how they play with mentality, or changing mentality or changing shape. And then I'll be paying attention to the transitions. And it looked okay. I'm pretty happy. Now, as the season goes on, then I will start making slight adjustments to maybe PIs for some players. If I find that, maybe this guy he can't really pass the ball, so what the hell is he got play risky passes on? I might change his role. But that's the thing, you see. If you remember, one of the goals that we scored came from a beautiful pass from the DLF on support, looking in front for the poacher. That's because I was playing a DLF on support. When you play it's important to understand the role that you're using and what that role brings to the game. And if you can and you find the right player for it, everything is a lot more easier in this game. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Ajax Diaries. That's what I'm going to call this show. And we are going to continue our little adventure with Ajax. I'm going to continue for I want to see how far I can go with these boys and see whether I can bring some of these youngsters through. Well, if you have any questions, you know to find me. You can always look me on Twitter at Bustthenet or addicted2fm.com, my website. Once again, I'd like to thank all my patrons for their continued support of this channel. You make these kind of shows possible for the rest of the community. You guys take care, have a good one, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.